put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
On Tobago Updates Television, it is Tuesday, 25th March 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kambi. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is Akinlabi Holder, and it's glad to have you here with us this morning. I hope you woke up, said your prayers, had your tea, a little bit of coffee, you eat your biscuit, and you're ready to go for today.
Yes, Akinlabi, I hope you did the same, because, we have a lot of things to discuss. We will continue talking about the fact that we are in election season, and so, of course, we have to have the conversations. We have to speak to the people, and we have to hear what their plans and projections are. And more importantly, we also want to hear from Tobago, so this is an opportunity for those of you who are viewing on any of our platforms. You can leave your comments on our Facebook live stream or on our YouTube channel. Be a part of the conversation, be in the know, and remember that Tobago Updates Television is your #1 choice for coverage for general elections right here in Trinidad and Tobago. So Akinlabi, we have to take our vitamins.
Yeah.
We have to be in the know.
I started this week.
That's right, that's right. Be up late at night, see what's happening in social spaces, see who said what, and so that we can have the conversations that we need to have in the spaces that we're going to have. But more importantly, I just want to celebrate life. So we're going to continue to give God thanks for our life, and we're going to continue to celebrate day and night. Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope that you can stay with us throughout the entire programming as we bring the conversations to you, as we speak about the things that we need to speak about, the things that affect me, you, and all of us who live here in the Tobago space. But before we get into all of those conversations, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar pledged at the UNC general election launch that a UNC government would establish a national commission on the banking and financial sector to prevent predatory fees and ensure fair forex distribution. Persad-Bissessar promised to compensate LMNC divers families if the current government fails to introduce police in schools to curb bullying. Criticizing the PNM's economic policies, Persad-Bissessar vowed to lower taxes, boost businesses, and improve security. She condemned the PNM's reliance on Venezuela gas deals and urged voters to reject oppressive leadership in favor of strong, responsible governance. Up next, the newly announced PDP candidate for Tobago West, Curtis Douglas, is calling on former PDP supporters now backing the TPP to come home for the April 28 election. He criticized the TPP's formation after the 2023 PDP split and pledged to fight for Tobago's representation. Douglas urged fisherfolk and Tobagonians to back the PDP, stating the PNM has failed Tobago. PDP leader Watson Duke, contesting Tobago East, aims to negotiate key government positions if elected, including Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, to ensure Tobago's influence in national governance. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump's 25% tariff on countries buying Venezuelan oil raises concerns for TNT exports. While some fear a negative impact on TNT's manufacturing and trade with the U.S., experts suggest it may hurt the U.S. economy more. The tariff could strain TT to U.S. trade ties, especially amid forex challenges. Trinidad and Tobago's benefit from preferential U.S. tariffs and strong trade relations, but also collaborates with Venezuela in energy. Trinidad and Tobago was recently licensed to explore gas fields near Venezuela, highlighting its geopolitical balances act between the U.S. and Venezuelan interests. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. And of course, we'll go to, I believe it was your top story in terms of revealing the candidate for Tobago West for the PDP. I mean, for me, there was no surprise there. If you were following the trade of events, you could clearly see that that is where it was heading. And so for me, there was no big announcement there. But, you know, I'm looking at the strategy and how they are doing the revelations, the revealing of the candidates. And, you know, it's really, as I mentioned yesterday, politics really is a science. While I am not a political analyst, nor am I a political scientist, it really is a science. It's about strategy. It's about playing the game the right way and doing the thing at the right time. Timing is everything. But for me, there was no big surprise there. I don't know about you guys in terms of, you know, following how things were happening. What stood out for you guys?
Well, I didn't pay much attention to that candidate, but it wasn't much of a surprise, as you say, as how things were unfolding. So it wasn't much about a surprise for me.
Yes, likewise for me, I also didn't really sit down to analyze and try to anticipate who the PDP would bring forward. But now that they have revealed their Tobago West candidate, looking back at the past few weeks, it fits. It fits.
Yeah. When they say it fits, we're talking about the narrative that the PDP, you know, they have been coming with. You could kind of see that that's where it was going to go. And I know we're going to get some more revelations. I think today IDA is revealing their candidates as well. So we're going to know who are the candidates there. You know, is busy times, it's interesting times. We're going to see what is happening. But for me, most importantly, I want to know about the issues that are going to be addressed. And the funny thing is that time after time, year after year, election after election, they present the issues, but I want to know, how are you going to hold yourself accountable? These are the kind of questions we need to ask and get the answers in terms of, I mean, there are great big plans, and you hear every politician say that we go in there with the greatest of plans because we want to do, and then when we get in there, we realize we are restricted. Okay, so now everybody knows that there are restrictions. What are you going to do to hold yourself, you know, accountable when you get in there? So for me, that is what I am looking forward to having in terms of discussions as we speak with the politicians, the candidates, and all the persons who are going to give themselves forward for election this year. I don't know about you guys, where that is concerned.
What is interesting for me is that, you know, the other parties, which is the PDP, the IDA, and the TPP, they are able to field candidates for the general. So I am wondering, when it's time for the THA elections, would they be able to field, you know, candidates for all seats?
Well, that's a very good question that you raised there. But I think they're taking it one election at a time.
Well, true.
You know, so they'll tackle the THA elections first, and perhaps based on the kind of support that they get they'll tackle the general elections first, And based on the kind of support that they get, then they will see how far they can move forward with the THA, because they may not field 15 candidates for the THA elections. They may field less than the 15, depending on the sort of support that they get in April.
Well, let's see how it goes. As I said, very interesting times ahead. So, you know, we have to keep staying tuned to what is happening here. And of course, our viewers, they know that Tobago Updates Television is your #1 choice for coverage as it relates to the general elections here in Trinidad and Tobago. We will be bringing you all the conversations, what is happening out there. We'll be speaking with the persons as they bring their strong points. Of course, we also want to hear from you. So remember our Facebook live stream and our YouTube channel. And we also transmit on AMPLIA 102 and Flow 121 and 130. Biana, thank you so much for joining us on set this morning and bringing the news there in 90 seconds. Do have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout out. And of course, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we take pleasure in saying happy birthday to our friends, to our viewers, those of you who are locked on and always bring us the words of encouragement. And we start off by saying happy birthday to Mr. Dion Williams. Dion Williams is celebrating a birthday today, and we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday.
And I want to say happy birthday to my lifelong friend, Kristen Salandi. Primary school together, high school together, we work together. Happy birthday to you, Kristen. I wish you God's richest blessings. I know today is going to be a fabulous day for you. You're going to dress up in your best and you're going to go out and eat and dance and celebrate. And we wish that the next coming year would be one of a lot of blessings and advancement in your life. Happy birthday, Kristen.
And not only that, Akilabi, Kristen, you might see her face, a few times around here, a part of the Tobago Updates family, when we call on her. She's so good at what she does. And so, Kristen, we want to say happy birthday to you and God's richest blessings upon your life. Karen Cowan, a face you don't usually see, but he's celebrating a birthday today. And we say happy birthday to you, Karen. We pray God's blessings upon your life. And we do hope as you continue to fulfill your purpose that you will receive the insight and the wisdom to do the things that God has laid upon your heart to do. So happy birthday to you as well.
Happy birthday going out to Philip Forbes. Happy birthday, Mr. Forbes.
Yes, Mr. Forbes, my classmate here, class of 96. Am I selling out my age here? Happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful birthday today. So God's richest blessings to you, and do have an amazing day. And of course, if you are celebrating a birthday and we don't have your photo, if you are celebrating an anniversary, a promotion, a new job, a new car, you have a new house, you're migrating, whatever you are celebrating, we join in the celebrations with you, and we remind you to put God first, because He is the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. Akin Labi, who are we having conversations with in studio this morning?
Okay, so this morning we have some exciting conversations. We have the political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Mr. Ansel Dennis. He's in...
Senator, can I correct you? Senator.
Oh, yes, you could correct me, of course. Senator Ansel Dennis. And he's here to talk about the PNM's readiness for the general elections. And also we're going to have Credit Union Committee member Mr. Keegan Denoon, and he's going to be coming in to talk about the Lambo Credit Union nominations. Right.
Interesting conversations, of course, to be had here in studio this morning. And viewers, of course, we do hope that you could stay with us while we go through the conversations, especially the first one where we're talking about the readiness. As you are aware, we are in election season. Just in case you didn't know, let me just remind you. And so most of our conversations here on Tobago Updates will be centered around preparedness for the general election 2025. It's a very interesting election, and of course we need to know what is happening. You need to be in the know, you need to be kept up to date. So of course we will be having those conversations. We do hope that you could stay with us, whether you are viewing right here in Tobago, whether you are in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, the UK, Asia, Australia, Africa, wherever you are. Thank you so much for choosing us this morning. And as we go through the conversations, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
The Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm. On Easter weekend 2025, Tobago is the place to be from April 17th to 20th. The rhythm, the soul of Tobago. On Thursday, April 17th, get ready for a worship experience at the Shore Park Complex with melodies from heaven. Melodies from heaven. Then on Saturday, 19th April, immerse yourself in the sun, sea, and sand at the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, featuring legends of R&B. On Sunday, 20th April, we bring the curtains down at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium for Fusion. Get your tickets on islandetickets.com now or visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago, so it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning, and might I remind you, we are in election season, so we're gonna be talking all things election. We have in our presence this morning Senator Ansel Dennis, the political leader of the PNM Tobago Council, and we're talking about PNM ready for general elections. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be on Tobago Updates, and good morning to your listeners and viewers out there as well.
Right. Pleasant morning to you. We're in the season, and of course, very, very interesting election, general elections. We have at least, I think, 7 parties in the race, training their hat in the race, and of course, wow, interesting times, Akinlabi. And yes. I think for me, if in my recollection, I think is the most we've had for a general election, the most parties we've had participating. Possibly more.
But I can't say for certain.
Right.
Possibly.
Right. We are seeing some of the parties have a full slate of 41 candidates, and we're still seeing some still revealing some of their candidates as well.
Well, so far the PNM is the only party with a full slate of 41 candidates.
I think the Patriotic Forwards also have 41.
They stated that intent, but I don't think they have 41 candidates as yet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here we go.
Let me add as well that the UNC also has 41 candidates.
Right.
They are just blue in Tobago instead of yellow.
Right. Oh, Jesus. We're live on Tobago Updates Television, the morning show here. Mr. Dennis, we're talking about the position of the PNM as we head into these general elections. Let's talk a little bit before we get into where you are now in terms of your track record, and what gives you the confidence that you can be ready to win this election and deliver to the people.
Well, we are already ready. Firstly, we have the 2 best candidates in the race when it comes to Tobago East and Tobago West. We have a proud and solid track record here in Tobago to stand upon. And I think we have the best plans going forward when compared to the other political parties. Because our campaign will be about advancing to the people of Tobago that, look, PNM as a central government with a Tobago-born Prime Minister at the helm at the time, delivered to you, the people of Tobago. And I don't think I need to go into all the details. Of course, during the campaign, we will give the specifics. But I think the delivery across Tobago by the central government for the last 9 years is quite obvious for all of us to see. The second thing is that I'm hearing the leader of the TPP talking about cabinet and fine China and these sorts of things. The cabinet is the decision-making body of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. If you want to build an airport terminal building, cabinet is where the decision is made. If you want to build police stations, fire stations, marinas, any significant project coming from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, cabinet is where the decision is made. And I'm saying, therefore, that the people of Tobago are better off when our 2 MPs have a chance of being part of a cabinet to make decisions. Because I will say to all Tobagonians that the delivery that you witnessed over the last 9 years, most recently the new airport terminal building being completed, was not about anybody going to the parliament and shouting to the top of the voice and negotiating in any parliament. That decision was made at a cabinet where we had our 2 MPs as government ministers stating their case for Tobago. And of course, I must admit it was a little bit easier at that point in time with a Tobago Prime Minister. But I expect it to be no different with George Young or whoever else is at the helm, because the PNM is a national party that, of course, is quite interested in the development of Tobago. So I'm saying to the people of Tobago, it makes absolutely no sense to take your vote and give it to a party that has no chance of being part of a government, unless, of course, they join with the UNC. And we have history, we have historical lessons on how that has gone for the people of Tobago. We had 1717-2, where A.N.R. Robinson took the 2 NAR seats and joined with the UNC to form the Pan-League government. What was the result of that? And for those of you who would remember, Robinson eventually became president and removed Mr. Pandey as Prime Minister and replaced him with Mr. Manning due to the corruption and all the scandals that was taking place at that point in time. We did the same in 2010, where Ashwood Jack and the TOP took our 2 seats. Of course, the partnership was quite open at the time. They were not hiding. And we saw what happened from 2010 to 2015. What did Tobago benefit? It was not until the PNM won, and we had our 2 Tobago MPs as part of the PNM, where from 2015 to now, we have seen significant development taking place in Tobago, across Tobago East and across Tobago West. This central government, this PNM central government, has delivered to the people of Tobago.
Mr. Dennis, we have had your political opponents on the show for the past couple of days, and they have argued that the People's National Movement is not particularly interested in the matter of constitutional reform and the development autonomy of the Tobago autonomy.
Right.
They've argued that a PNM being out of central government, they will be better able to negotiate perhaps with the UNC or any other political party that takes up office in the central government in Trinidad. What is your counter to that argument?
Absolute rubbish. And I'll tell you why. In order for the changes to take place at the level of the parliament, 31 votes are required out of the 41 to have a sufficient majority to change the constitution. We in the PNM have always signaled our intention to support those legislative changes. As a matter of fact, no other political organization has advanced Tobago's interests where autonomy is concerned than the PNM. No other political organization. Even if we were to examine what transpired in 1996, I just gave the example of A.N.R. Robinson going to the UNC. And of course, even before that, we had a 33-3 majority in the parliament in 1986, I think it was. And no significant advancements were made. And there are reasons for that, for those who understand the history and who understand the political climate of this country. Then 1772, Robinson gave Pandey the 2 seats to form the government. What we got was Act 40 of 1996. And Act 40 of 1996, at the point in time, what it represented was something that was completely insufficient for the needs of the people of Tobago at that point in time. Then, of course, the PNM came into government. In 2016, the then THA, led by Orville London, sent a bill representing all the views, all the wishes, all the aspirations of the people of Tobago. That bill went to a GSC. Through negotiations, through research, through several years of hard work, we finalized 2 draft bills that went to the parliament. The PNM, with our 22 seats, our 22 votes in the parliament, were always in support of those bills. And if Ali is telling me that he could not negotiate with Kamla Prasad Bisesa because you have 22, therefore you need 9 more to make 31. Where would the 9 come from? It has to come from the other political party in the parliament, which is the UNC. And if he could not negotiate then with his friends in Trinidad to ensure that that bill was passed, or even if they were not satisfied with the bill, we could have had a situation where they go to parliament. And you know how parliament works. People will bring their amendments that they wish to see in the legislation. People will argue for changes. You go back and look at what transpired in the parliament when that bill came back. And even before it came back, on the first occasion, go back and look at the debate. There was no interest from the UNC in supporting Tobago's position at the point in time. And even if they were not satisfied with the bills, there was absolutely no attempt from the UNC to bring any meaningful amendments to the bill to improve the bill or anything like that. So if this chief secretary could not negotiate at that point in time, he had what? 3 years, because the bills came first in 2021, and then it came back last year. 3 years, no negotiations with his friends in Trinidad, but he's saying to the people of Tobago, give us the 2 Tobago seats, so we'll put them down there to go and negotiate with 39 others. Absolute rubbish.
Mr. Dennis, we're talking about, as we're on the topic of the autonomy for Tobago, and we're talking about the fact that, people have their opinions based on what has happened and their own interpretation of what has happened. And you've given that breakdown there. And the conversation will continue to remain. I mean, we've been in the conversation since 1976. I was reminded just yesterday. And so it's still going to be a conversation. How important is it? Because if you're being accused, if the PNM is being accused, or it's been said that the PNM is not interested in moving forward with the autonomy bill, what is the urgency right now? Should the PNM get back into power? What is the urgency in pushing that conversation forward? Not just pushing it forward, but also having a position where Tobago will reap maximum benefits geographically and economically and all the areas so that Tobago can be pushed forward. And one of the primary things people are talking about is for the power to make the type of legislation that they want to make. And as you mentioned before, if you want to build a hospital, if you want to build a police station, why do we have to run back to the central government? Why do we have to run back? Will we be given that kind of power and the resources to ensure that we can do what we think we need to do right here in Tobago?
Yeah. Well, you have interpretations. I just want to start where you started. You have interpretations and then you have facts. People could interpret and say what they want, but you have facts. The facts of what transpired in the parliament on both occasions is on YouTube, it's on the Parliament's website, it's on Hansard for all of us as Tobagonians to see. Now, I have said this before and I will say it again. There will be no autonomy for Tobago unless two things happen. One, until the PNM is able to win 31 seats in the Parliament. And we know, given the political context within which we operate, that is very unlikely. And secondly, the other option is for Tobagonians to speak with one voice and stand united to send a powerful signal to those in the Parliament that Tobago is supporting with one voice a particular agenda, a particular set of bills, a particular piece of legislation. And let me say as well, we do not necessarily have to agree from the Tobago side of things. Because when you examine the Tobago context, there are several different arguments out there. The PNM has their own version of autonomy. The TPP has their own version of autonomy. And I'm sure even within these organizations, you will have people with their own versions. You have people talking about federalism. You have people talking about independence and all. Right? And nothing is wrong with that. That's democracy. And even if people want to continue to argue and fight for what they want, why not have Tobago benefit from the significant improvements that we could have had then last year and continue to cuss and argue for the other versions that we think should be implemented? Where are we now? Right now, we have no lawmaking powers still. Right now, the people of Tobago are losing $1.5 billion per year in additional resources through the improved THE Act. That's what we're losing right now. And we continue to argue, we continue to cuss. TPP trying to hoodwink Tobagonians, send 2 seats in the Parliament to negotiate with 39, and that will somehow give us autonomy. It doesn't work like that. Right? Now, as for the final thing you mentioned is what will happen on this occasion. Again, the PNM is the only political party in this country that has adopted Tobago's autonomy, significant autonomy for Tobago, as party policy. And you know what that means? That means that any PNM government now and in the future is instructed by the party to pursue that particular agenda as party policy. So we will continue to make further attempts, but it is up to the people of Tobago to stand united on this issue and to send a powerful signal to the Parliament. And the final thing I will say on that matter is this. I am sure, 100% sure, that if the posture of the PNM's opponents in Tobago was different in 2021 or in 2024 when the bills came back to the Parliament, the UNC would have had no choice but to support the bills.
While you were giving your presentation there, you were talking about people having different opinions in terms of what autonomy would look like for Tobago. Some people think of all different types of things. Do you believe one, as a politician, and two, as a layman, an average citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, that the people understand what autonomy for Tobago is and what the approach is to getting there. Do you believe there has been enough consultation and public education in terms of engaging the communities, the villages, the homes, the children in the school, everybody to understand what this is, what their voice mean, and how they can impact the autonomy bill?
Now, a lot of consultations have been done. Some education has been done as well, especially by the PNM. Last year, we did an entire series of lectures or town hall meetings, if you want to call it that, to really edify and educate people on this autonomy issue. But in a situation like this, more could always be done, right? What you do will never be sufficient. You will always have pockets of people who will not understand and fully embrace this issue for a number of reasons. So I tend to operate on the side of pragmatism and practicality, and therefore it is not my expectation that all of us will get the point or rally behind a particular kind of autonomy or a particular model of autonomy. What I'm hoping for is that at least the leaders, if the leaders can agree, and it takes some maturity to say, look, this is not what I want. And by the way, I must congratulate Anthony James, because he is one of those proponents for a federalist model, a federalist approach, federalism, where you have a government of Tobago, a government of Trinidad, and of course, a federal government above those two layers. But he came to the conclusion after a while that these bills, the bills that were before the parliament, is going to give Tobago significant improvements over what we have now. And therefore he came to the conclusion that we should accept, we should support what we have now, get the additional $1.5 billion per year, get the lawmaking powers that will allow us to significantly change this place called Tobago, and then continue the fight. Right? And he was of the belief that I could continue my fight for federalism after, whether it take 10 years, 15 years down the road, because this journey, even when you examine other jurisdictions, it has always been a journey of improvements along the way.
We had, before you come in, Akinlabi, we had a lot of voices saying eat little and live long, or why we should take that. I mean, that's why we ended up in that situation where
So you don't
incremental development is a positive connotation, but some people were saying they feel as if it was being stymied, in terms of...
And that is an attempt to hoodwink the people of Tobago. And unfortunately, some Tobagonians are buying into that. And it's not even eat little and live long. That was eat a lot. It wasn't eat little at all. And okay, you refuse that, you rejected that. You don't want to eat little, as the TPP was saying, or you don't want to eat a lot, as the PNM was saying. What do we have now? What do we have now?
So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about economic policies for Tobago. We had on Mr. Annie Roberts last week, and he spoke about if the UNC got into power, they would give Tobago a greater share in the oil and gas deposits that are within the marine spaces of Tobago. What is the PNM's policy on increasing Tobago's share in oil and gas deposits in Tobago's marine space? Because we know that has been a discussion for quite some time within the Tobago space.
So, talking about increased share in oil and gas deposits, that is simply politics. The law that governs Tobago's share, there is only one piece of legislation that determines Tobago's share, not in any oil and gas deposits, in the national budget. That is how it's done. So anybody coming here to talk about oil and gas deposits, talking foolishness. We in the PNM have always believed that we should change the legislation, and it ties back to the same autonomy discussion, to give Tobago, and it was proposed in the bill, 6.9% or 6.8% of the national budget, which would have resulted in an additional $1.5 billion for the people of Tobago, right? In addition to that, Dr. Rowley, when he came into office in 2015, and a lot of people may not know this, But his view was that his first term, by the time his first term ends as Prime Minister, Tobago must be transformed, especially as it relates to its tourism sector. And it was out of that belief and out of that intent that several projects were birthed. And these projects, of course, would have transformed Tobago's economy and increased our economic potential as a small island of 60,000 people. Airport terminal building. Now, I see people talking about the airport, and Secretary of Tourism is wondering, well, where are we going to find the people to utilize this 3 million passenger per year airport? The airport was never a standalone project. It was a suite of projects designed to create jobs in Tobago, designed to have Tobago contribute more significantly to national development, designed to have Tobagonians earn foreign exchange, designed to transform the agriculture sector in Tobago. So it was the airport, 3 million passengers per year, state-of-the-art, improved facilities that will provide no excuses for any airline. We're now in a position to accommodate any airline, VIP arrangements, all kinds of arrangements to ensure that any airline, the most luxurious airline in the world, will find facilities there to their satisfaction. Sandals Resort, because of course, one of our major problems in Tobago is that we don't have any 5-star accommodation, none whatsoever. Now, some may say, okay, Stonehaven Villas is considered 5-star, but how many villas you have up there? 9, 10?
About.
Right? Not many. So we do have 5-star accommodation. Sandals was going to bring that. And people don't remember, but it wasn't to be Sandals alone. It was to be a Sandals, which is the couples brand for those who want to couple up, and the Beaches, which is the family brand of the Sandals family. So it was going to be those 2 resorts. Then you had Marriott. And in addition to that, you had the 2 fast ferries coming on stream to support the air bridge. There was also plans for a cargo vessel to allow us to increase our agricultural potential. You also had the marina. Now, a lot of people don't understand Tobago's potential, economic potential where marina is concerned because of our location. We have not had a major hurricane for a long time. Of course, we have had very close brushes. I think it was last year. We had a hurricane warning, and we're still waiting for the hurricane to come. I remember actually going to the hardware store to get ply, and my wife wasn't taking me on, and I was trying to convince her, look, this one is serious. This is not a joke this time. And I went to the hardware store, bought ply, bar up the windows, etc., taking this thing seriously. And I'm still waiting for the hurricane to come. So God has been good to us where that is concerned. Yes. So because of our location and because of those realities, a lot of vessel owners, yachts, etc., whether sailboats or motor yachts, will definitely look at a marina in Tobago as a safe haven during the off-season and as a major point of entry, even during the peak sailing season. And therefore, that is a significant potential for the economy of Tobago. It will create jobs, it will earn foreign exchange, it will allow even for other spin-off things like fishing tournaments, which we used to have a lot before. But one of the challenges with those fishing tournaments is that when those major vessels come here, they don't necessarily have a proper location to refuel their boats, etc. So that was the plan, to bring all these infrastructural pieces together and to place Tobago in a position to compete with any other Caribbean destination. And we felt that once we had put those things in place, then further investments would have followed closely behind, because investors like to come where the action is.
Mr. Dennis, we're enjoying the conversation this morning in studio. Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Senator Ansel Dennis this morning as we talk about where is the PNM in terms of readiness for general election 2025. We have to go for a short break, as we have to pay some bills, but we'll be right back with this conversation. So we do hope that you will stay with us. And of course, we're inviting you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Centre has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning. Good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We are in election season, so we're talking all things elections. In fact, you'll be hearing us speaking to all or most of the candidates or political parties affiliated with this general election, so you have to stay tuned to get the information and the conversations. We have been speaking with the Senator Ansel Dennis as he talks about the PNM's readiness for elections 2025, the general elections 2025. And before we went to the break, Senator, we were talking about the economical projections for Tobago. And, I want to go back a little bit to autonomy. And the reason why I want to go there, I want to talk about in the autonomy bill that was presented the last time, we had the boasts about the budgetary allocation would have increased. We would have had lawmaking powers. Is it possible the items on the bill that we agreed on, when I say we, the people of Tobago, in terms of representations, whether it's politically or otherwise, the parts of the bill that we agree on, is it not possible, especially the budgetary allocation, is it not possible at all with a simple majority that could have been amended, that could have been separate and attended to, and some kind of outcome coming from that, so that we could see going into the next budget, hey, there's an increase in the budgetary allocation?
Yes, there are some aspects of the legislation that could have been passed without the 3/4 majority, right? But that requires a new bill, right? That has to be a separate bill. It will be similar to the current THE Act. So you could just amend the current THE Act and put in greater allocations and stuff like that. So that's an option. But is that an option that we truly want? What about just simply passing the bill as it is now?
Right. And I know in terms of the bill, there were also not just the budgetary allocation, but there were instances in the bill that especially the current administration were not in agreement with. So I'm thinking that in their minds, passing the entire bill would also impact the things on the bill that they did not agree to. So the question now is, why not just pass the things that we agreed with in terms of making the amendments there? And
again, the place for that was the Parliament. So if you need to go and look at the facts, check that document. Farley WhatsApped a document to, I don't know if it was just the Prime Minister or all members of Parliament on the morning of the sitting. Go have a look at that document, and I'm encouraging the people of Tobago to do so as well. It's circulating somewhere. Look at it, see those amendments that were proposed and look at the instructions given to parliamentarians on the morning of the debate. 3 years passed, no action taken. 3 years passed, no amendments submitted. On the morning of the debate is when Farley chose to. I want to make a bold accusation. And the accusation is that Farley Augustine colluded with the UNC to ensure that those bills did not see the light of day in the parliament, because they felt that giving Tobago any autonomy at that point in time was too risky for their political ambitions going forward. I want to make that bold accusation.
It's a very, very bold accusation, and of course, quite entitled to so do. Staying with the economy of Tobago, I will come back to you, Akinlabi. I know you have a burning question to ask, but in terms of allowing Tobago to be, can I use the word involved? Because there are accusations, but can I use the word accusations as you just used?
Sure.
That central government, there are projects that are operated by the central government that come to Tobago without the involvement of the Tobago administration.
Such as?
The rumor is the ANR airports, right?
No.
And so, just now, let me just get some clarity to ensure the process, the procedure. How was it done? What was done? What was the level of involvement of the current administration? What will be the level of involvement of any administration, THA administration, on central government projects being done in Tobago? That partnership, and to ensure that there's equality in terms of ensuring the project gets off the ground for the benefit of the people of Tobago.
Firstly, these people lie a lot. These people in the THA. So don't take everything that they say as fact. Now, I can speak for the THA's involvement prior to this administration, when this airport project was conceptualized. According to law, it is accepted and understood that the airport authority has responsibility for the airport, for its maintenance, for its upkeep, and for its management. So therefore, it was always accepted that the central government will be responsible for financing the airport project. And that has always been done in consultation with the Tobago House of Assembly. As a matter of fact, the consultation was such a close one that along the way, we decided in the THA that we will go beyond the law, beyond what the law requires, to provide persons who were displaced, who were being displaced by this airport project, with two land developments, one in Cove and one in Sherburne, to ensure that they have the opportunity to purchase land and rebuild their homes and rebuild their businesses, etc. The THA did not have to do that. And I want to say as well that through collaboration, that money did not come from the THA's coffers. The central government agreed to finance those projects outside of the THA's allocations, although that was a THA responsibility. Land development, housing, and those kind of things, THA's responsibility. The other part of it was this new airport terminal building required a road. Because if the intent is to pass through that airport 3 million passengers per year, hopefully by 2040 or 2030. 2030 might be a bit soon. So let's say 2040. Then, of course, you need to have new infrastructural arrangements to be able to manage that level of access to the airport. The THA then agreed that a new road will be built for over $100 million, dual carriageway, 2 lanes on each side, and therefore people will be able to access the airport terminal building from Sherburne Road. So the plan was never to use the Tobago local road, but a separate road south of the terminal building, come all the way around through those 2 estates, Kilgreen and Friendship Estate, all the way down to 2 roundabouts at Sherburne. So if you're going to the airport, once you get to Sherburne Road, you could either head to Crown Point. People who go into Crown Point, they take the current route. And people who go into the airport could have gone straight ahead and access the airport terminal building directly. And even if you want to get to Crown Point from that route, you could still access, there was to be another roundabout somewhere in close proximity to the airport terminal building that will take you back on to the Tobago local road. We agreed that would be done. And because this came about as a result of this new terminal building, we said to the central government, all you build it, we will keep our money to do other things. They agreed. So that was the level of collaboration. There were constant meetings between the THA and NIDCO, who had responsibility for the airport project. The THA actually had a representative on the committee with responsibility for this project. So there was always collaboration. Two things happened when the administration changed. Firstly, the Secretary of Infrastructure and the Chief Secretary started to attack the project with bare naked lies. One of the classic lies being told, and I had to call out a reporter from this network, unfortunately, for that lie, was when they said that the airport project did not have approvals. That is a dangerous allegation to make against such a project. Because remember, that project requires international certification. You're hoping that you'll get buy-in from all your international agencies, aviation authorities, airlines across the world. So to come here now and make an allegation that we in Trinidad and Tobago are so disorganized and are so poor in terms of our governance that we will build an airport, a major facility, without environmental approvals, without tongue and country planning, that was a dangerous and bold-faced allegation to make. So I had to call it out as straightforward as I possibly could have. So that was blatant lie. The second thing they did was to cancel the arrangements with the road. So the THA said, keep all your road, we building your own road, keep all your money, we will use our money to build the road. Where is the road for today? You know where the road is? Tied up in the courthouse. 3 injunctions, no environmental approvals, riddled with corruption, contractor receiving payments, $32 million in payments, and the road is not even complete. $32 million in payments. And you, if you drive down there now, pass the first roundabout, take the left or go straight ahead if you're coming from Buku side, go down to the second roundabout and make the right, and you cannot drive down to the end of any road. It's a road to nowhere, right? Those two things happened. So for them to now come and talk about they not being involved, if they are not involved, it's because they choose to not be involved. And then of course now, airport opening, and some people are trying to run this fake controversy, trying to create controversy where none exists, with fake anger about the Chief Secretary not being able to speak on the program and so forth and so forth. After these people lied on this project, criticized the project, hired lawyers to block the project, refused to cooperate with the central government, frustrating the project, frustrating something that will benefit the people of Tobago. And the issue now is Chief Secretary didn't get to speak on the program. I think our priorities, those persons, their priorities might not be in order.
Mr. Dennis, I want to go back to the issue of the economic policies and plans for Tobago from the central government. Mm-hmm. And I want us to get back on the issue of the hydrocarbons. I know you told me that the issue of the greater share in hydrocarbons, it's not supported by law as of now. But it's a really burning issue for a lot of Tobagonians. The Tobagonians want a greater share. Is it possible? 1 minute. Is it possible for the central government or two MP representatives, if they get back in office, mm-hmm. to really champion a cause mm-hmm. for some change in legislation that would allow Tobagonians to enjoy more of a share of the hydrocarbons,
and
even
again,
if the amendment to the THA Act isn't made?
So why are we talking share in hydrocarbons when we should be talking share of the national budget? Because if it's an increased allocation we want. So talking about share in hydrocarbons, how exactly are we going to execute that? It has always been share of national budget. Now, for those who may want to push for that to change, they could argue that. Our argument has always been that we need an increase in the allocation for the people of Tobago. Whether it be 6.9%, 8%, 9%, we need an increase in the allocation for Tobago. If the arguments can be put forward in a context of the location of resources in close proximity to Tobago, no problem. But it always boils down to an increase in the share of the national budget. So to try to complicate it now about share in hydrocarbons and so forth, that is totally unnecessary.
Well, I think that the person who's making that argument, the logic might be that if we get a greater share in the hydrocarbons within the marine space of Tobago, it may amount to more financial resources than a simple share in the national budget. I'm not sure.
No problem. So argue that in the context of your argument of a greater share of the national budget. So you can make the argument that because X resources exist here, and by the way, let's not get carried away, because we don't know for certain how much of any particular kind of hydrocarbon exists there.
Yes.
Those numbers that you're seeing out there on billboards and so forth, pure speculation designed to mislead and to hoodwink the people of Tobago. Our position as well in the PNM is that there should be no such thing as Tobago having its own zone and Trinidad having its own zone. All the resources in the jurisdiction of Trinidad and Tobago belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
But how does that...
Yes, no, again, if people in Tobago want to argue that on the basis of us bringing X amount of resources, which we don't know how much it is, but if we want to argue that on the basis of us bringing X amount of resources, we want a greater share of the national budget, no problem. And that has been a part of the argument why we proposed 9%. And in negotiations back and forth, it came down to 6.8%, which represents an additional $1.5 billion per year. So some people chose to reject that and stay with 4.03 when we could have accepted that 6.8%, $1.5 billion more per year. And guess what? Nobody not blocking him out. You could continue to cuss and argue and negotiate for more as we go along, but accept the additional and if I were to bring it to the context of a family, let's say my 10-year-old daughter decides that, look, I want $50 to go to school. And I say, I can't give you $50 now. I'm giving you $30 a day to go to school. Let's say she currently getting 10. Should she reject? Is it smart for her to reject the 30 and keep the 10 because she's not getting the 50 that she wants? Or accept the 30 and maybe when you're 15 or you're 16, she might come and say, well, Daddy, give me $100 to go to school. And then I might say, well, yeah, take the $100. So it's a simple fact that you don't ever reject more and keep less on the basis that you're not getting what you want. That is childish.
I think you kind of answered where I was going in your refute there, because I was going to say, if you're talking about because we contribute more, we should get more. That's the argument, right? That has been the argument. And you're saying that can't happen because all the resources are pooled together for Trinidad and Tobago. But how does that reflect on autonomy now? Because if we're talking about autonomy and it's a whole pool that we all taken from,
if people are saying Tobago should have access to its own resources in its own waters, no problem. Argue for independence. Because that's what that is. Argue for independence. And there are some people making that arguments. And they are free to make those arguments. I and the PNM, we just don't support that at this point in time. Our position is that we are better off as one nation under God, Trinidad and Tobago. What we should be trying to do is to capitalize on that relationship through agriculture, through tourism. You know what keeps our tourism sector going in the absence of those international arrivals that the current failing Secretary of Tourism can bring? It's the Trinidadians that keep the tourism sector going in Tobago. If we get our agriculture sector working properly, and I'm very disappointed in the Secretary of Agriculture and this administration where agriculture is concerned, absolutely nothing more than frills and fancy has been done for the agriculture sector and the farmers in Tobago. There are projects that we started in the PNM, the Farmland Development Program, the Goldsboro Agro Processing Factory. We had TADCO moving in a particular direction to ensure that that company could be a central hub to take goods from farmers in Tobago, brand them as Tobago projects, and get them first and foremost into the Trinidad market, 1.3 million people. Instead, go to Penny Savers and see where all the chicken coming from. Go and see where the eggs coming from, right? So that relationship with Trinidad provides us with an easily accessible market. Transportation is cheap. The distance is near. And if we get our tourism, our agriculture sector, our creative sector going in a particular direction, then our relationship with Trinidad could benefit Tobago and Tobago's economy significantly. And that is where our focus should be. Not on separation, not on cussing Trinidadians because it suits your politics. That is where the focus should be.
Mr. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And as I've so far, I think my slogan for this week will be, I wish we had more time. Because I really wish we had more time to go through more of the conversation. And I know we will have representatives again from the PNM
definitely.
and from all the other political parties coming to, to share their views, opinions, and of course their projections as we head into elections 2025. Thank you so much for coming this morning. Viewers, we've been speaking with Senator Ansel Dennis.
Well, it's no longer Senator. The Parliament has been dissolved.
No, thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me. And this man waits until the end of the show to remind me of this. I mean, but it's all good. It's all good here. And of course, we are speaking about all things general election. Remember that Tobago Updates Television is your #1 station for all the live coverage of the general elections, the conversations that we will have with all our guests and with all the political parties, their candidates, the representatives of parties as we move forward into this general election. But please let me just let you know that the opinions of our guests do not represent the views of Tobago Updates Television. It is clearly their views, and we are here to facilitate the conversation as we move forward with where do we go from here as a nation, as Trinidad and Tobago. Continue to stay with us as we bring you the conversations. We have to end the morning show right here this morning, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, so you also want to stay with us where the conversations will continue. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Share the live.
Is important to fostering connections and acknowledging growth and shared experiences, as well as setting a foundation for future goals and action. The management agency here in Tobago, we call them TMA, and they recently celebrated their 27th anniversary. One activity was Awareness Day.
Stuff like this, every that we call service. Here today, we are here to assist with the of in ensuring that they maintain their health and in terms of term pressure, to make sure it is in line. The importance of checking your blood pressure is to ensure that you don't end up with stuff like for stroke, so that will help us the health center to do blood testing for stuff like your cholesterol and other blood work, so that we could determine if you are newly diagnosed or if you have been seen about your health. So we have the blood pressure testing, we have the sugar testing, here who do your weight, your BMI, and tell you how much body fat there is. We also have dental here to take care of the mouth, which is also important because of the bacteria and stuff that can cause different diseases to your organs and stuff like that.
TIMA workers share their love, experiences, and appreciation for their job.
Today for the staff, we are having a health and wellness program to commemorate our 27th year anniversary here at TIMA.
I am the GIS specialist at TIMA, so that's a Geographic Information System person. We deal with mapping as well as evacuation routes, evacuation maps, data elevation models, risk assessments, etc. I'm also attached to the planning department, so we do a lot of analysis as well as gap analysis as well as reports. So we basically are the brains somewhat of the organization. For me, my time here during this period would have been very great for me. Would have been able to respond to the oil spill as well as Tropical Storm Karen as well as other emergencies. This would have given you a lot of knowledge as well as wisdom in terms of how natural disasters actually operate, because reading about it is one thing, but actually being able to assist persons as well as to respond to it is something different. So it comes like you learn the theory and then you have to do the practical aspect of it. Life here is really great. It's a family environment. Yes, we may have our disagreements, but it's a high pressure environment, but we always have the ability to bounce back from or whatever would have impacted us, and that shows a lot of resilience within the organization. So cheers to 27 years.
TIMA's mission is to coordinate a network of agencies and individuals within the island of Tobago to direct their efforts to maximize preservation of life and the protection of the property in times of disaster.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
About to sign today will ensure that the three agencies work together, understand each other's role. There will be no duplication of efforts. Where one stops, the other begins. We cannot do it all, so we need the support. And this will ensure that we have things documented, set down in writing, where there's clarity.
The TRHA and the executive management of the TRHA is committed to providing the resources that are integral in making this collaborative effort work, because ultimately we are not the beneficiaries of this MOU. We are the stewards of the MOU, which is birthed in order to protect the children of this island.
We have come to the place where we see this not as a Children's Authority MOU, but as a tripartite MOU, where the three entities come together and we say this is what we are responsible for as it relates to the nation's and the island's children. And that is critical because it means that we now are taking full responsibility. All of us. We're not saying it's Children's Authority that's supposed to do that. We're not saying it's TRHA. We're not saying it's the division. We're not saying it is not my responsibility, it is yours. We are saying collectively it is our responsibility to ensure that this child is safe.
does three things. It reduces that interaction of the child with different agencies, so we don't re-traumatize the young child. It provides a seamless legal coverage, the child case management process, and it helps all three agencies document this case appropriately, so that when it comes for the review, which may happen through the legal system, we have each other's role clearly spelled out and the documentation therein.
This is really setting for what we really want here on the island of Tobago. It really is a passion of mine in terms of enhancing families and children. So okay, here is just the start of us trying to see how best we could provide support for children.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, bringing the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region, with the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine. I am Candice Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 25th March 2025. Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar pledged at a UNC general election launch that a UNC government would establish a national commission on the banking and financial sector to prevent predatory fees and ensure fair forex distribution. Persad-Bissessar also promised to compensate LMCS divers' families if the current government fails to do so, along with introducing police in schools to curb bullying. Criticizing the PNM's economic policies, Persad-Bissessar vowed to lower taxes, boost businesses, and improve security. She condemned the PNM's reliance on Venezuelan gas deals and urged voters to reject oppressive leadership in favor of strong and responsible governance. The newly announced PDP candidate for Tobago West, Curtis Douglas, is calling on former PDP supporters who are now backing the TPP to come home for the April 28 election. He criticized the TPP's formation after the 2022 PDP split and pledged to fight for Tobago's representation. Douglas urged fisherfolk and Tobagonians to back the PDP, stating the PNM has failed Tobago. PDP leader Watson Dew, contestant to the Tobago East seat, aims to negotiate key government positions if elected, including Prime Minister and Finance Minister, to ensure Tobago's influence in national governance. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump's 25% tariff on countries buying Venezuelan oil raises concerns for Trinidad and Tobago's exports. While some fear a negative impact on TNT's manufacturing and trade with the U.S., experts suggest it may hurt the U.S. economy more. The tariff could strain TNT and U.S. trade agreements, especially amid forex challenges. Trinidad and Tobago benefits from preferential U.S. tariffs and strong trade relations, but also collaborates with Venezuela in energy. TNT was recently licensed to explore dragon gas fields near Venezuela. And that was your news in 90 seconds. All right, viewers, so now getting into our show this morning. First up, we will be speaking with the Lambo Credit Union as they're getting ready for their own election. So it's election period all the way around, right? So to speak with us this morning, we are being joined by Mr. Keegan Noon, who is a Credit Union Committee member, and Ms. Leslie Ann Joseph, a staff member and MRO senior. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
How are you guys this morning?
Good morning, and thank you for having us.
Great. So Lambo Credit Union, just tell us, first of all, who you are, how long have you guys been around? Just give us an idea.
So Lambo Credit Union in August 28 of this year, will be celebrating 79 years of existence. We were established in 1946, and we have been here consistently representing the people, making dreams come true. Lambo Credit Union is one that I would say has been and continues to be a staple in the community. Over the years, we have literally contributed to not only what you would call village leagues and so forth, but we have contributed to shaping businesses, transforming lives, and ensuring that we do our part in making Tobago the greatest little island on the planet.
Great. And so you guys are now preparing for elections. So Ms. Leslie, can you give us an idea of, when is elections and what format will it take?
Our elections are carded. I think we're looking at April for our elections. And I think one of the focus points, what we're really looking at now, is to get persons to come forward and volunteer themselves. So the nomination process is on the way, and I want to ask Mr. Dino to speak to the process again, because we really want people to volunteer themselves. Come forward. We have positions on the board of directors, the credit committee, and the supervisory committee. So we're looking forward for persons to volunteer now. It's going to be a labor of love. Of course, there are going to be some rewards, and we really want persons who are dedicated and want to see Lambo Credit Union move from one place to the other, because as the economic climate changes so rapidly, we really need to look at how Lambo Credit Union is going to move forward. So that's why we're looking for new persons to come on board, get involved, and you're just going to have an exciting time. So I'm going to let Mr. Dinoon give you the details.
Sure,
as
Mr. Dinoon.
to go forward.
So the nomination process started on the 10th of March, and it finishes on the 4th of April at 3:30 p.m. You would have to, 1, go online and download the form and sign it up, or 2, you could go into the branches and collect the forms. You sign up the form, it requires proof of address in terms of a utility bill. It also requires 2 forms of identification. It requires also a COC, a character of certificate. You'd also need persons to recommend you who are current members of the institution. Additionally, if you are putting yourself forward to be a member of the board of directors, supervisory, or credit committee, you have to be a member in good financial standing within the credit union as well. Something to note, if you are considering being a part of the credit union and serving in supervisory, in credit committee, or on the board, you have to know that this is something that takes up a lot of time. So please, if you are somebody who is willing to serve, ensure that you have that available time to contribute to the credit union movement. Because as Ms. Leslie Ann rightfully said, it is indeed a labor of love. So if you are passionate about contributing to the credit union, passionate about seeing the credit union move forward in a very positive direction, passionate about helping members bring their dreams into reality, this is something for you. And I would encourage every young person to come on, be a part of Lambo Credit Union, be a part of any credit union, for a matter of fact. The experience that you gather there shapes and pushes you so much further into whatever pathways that you want to go into.
And why is it so important, first of all, to just be a part of a credit union?
So a credit union is very different to a bank. Banks are for profit. Credit unions are not for profit. When you are a member of a credit union, you're not only a member, you are a shareholder. So you own part of the credit union. So when the credit union makes revenue, you share a part of that revenue and you get what you call dividend. And so I am always encouraging my friends to invest, to save your money in the credit union. Last year, Lambo Credit Union paid a dividend of 3.5%. If you look at the market currently, there are very few institutions that would offer you such a high dividend. And consistently, over the years, Lambo Credit Union has consistently been able to maintain a very fair dividend. And this year, the dividend may, 1, remain the same, or 2, even go up a bit. And so it speaks to the stability and the leadership of the credit union. It speaks to also, for 79 years, for an institution to be around for 79 years, Candice, they have to be doing something right.
Certainly. Now, give me an idea, Ms. Lazian, of, just the kind of people that you guys are looking for to be able to serve. And I know you also mentioned that there are some goals and there are things that you want to achieve for the Lambo Credit Union. You want to reform it, you want to send it more into the future. Just elaborate a little bit more on those things.
We are looking for persons who would have at least a general idea of what is happening. Of course, you'll be trained when you get on board, but we want you to have a general idea. If you don't have an idea and you have a passion, we're still saying come forward. We're saying, let's say you want to get onto the credit committee. You want to have an idea, a little idea about loans and what is happening in the board of directors. They're the policy, that's the policy machine of the credit union. The board would take lead. So you would want to have an idea of your leadership roles. You would want to have an idea of maybe what happens with the board of directors, what you would like to see. Maybe you have a vision. Maybe you've been a part of another credit union. You have a vision. You want to see Lambo Credit Union go forward. And we're also reaching out to existing members who have never served. This is your opportunity to come forward and take Lambo Credit Union into another era. All right? We don't just sit back and say, oh, I'm not seeing this. Oh, I'm not seeing this. We want you to come forward and be a part. When you come forward, we will give you the necessary training so that you can function efficiently as a credit committee member, a board of directors member, or a supervisory committee member.
All right, great. Now, tell me a little bit about some of the things that we may not know about credit unions, and that why it should be considered, especially for somebody to step forward, first of all, to join, and then put themselves forward to, help lead the movement.
Well, there are a number of things that you have to take into consideration. As Ms. Leslie had rightfully said, you are exposed to a number of training. And so this training would not only help you in the credit union movement, but would assist you in your way of life, in terms of financial management, in terms of how the credit union functions, and so forth. Additionally, there are some things to note. When you are getting into the credit union movement, you are not a member, as I already said, you are a shareholder, and so forth. You are able to contribute to the policy implementation. Say, for example, you join the board of directors. I was a member of the board of directors, and we sat and we recognized that the need currently was that young persons are looking for ways to fund their education. And so we sat as a marketing committee through the board of directors and designed something called the PAL loan, the Professional Academic Advancement Loan. And this was for a very small interest rate. It's still accessible at the credit union. You can come, your parents could take it out for you, or if you are working, you could take it out for yourself. And you could use that to fund your master's, fund your doctorate, and so forth. Because when we saw that GATE no longer paid for masters and doctorates, the credit union stepped in and played that role, making that facility, that loan facility, accessible. We also have loan promotions running throughout the year. So, for example, we have our Easter loan promotion running now, in which we are encouraging members to save. So this is a loan for $60,000. We give you $30,000 in cash, and we encourage you to put $30,000 on shares to save. The thing about it is, you may look at it as just saving, but as a young person, if you intend to get a mortgage and so forth, when you reach that point at that juncture, they are going to ask you questions as, what is your credit rating? And if you have never taken a loan before, you're going to get a very high credit rating, or you may not even get a loan facility at all. But when you start with these smaller loans in terms of saving, and you build a good rapport with the credit union, and you build a good credit rating, it makes your life a lot easier going forward as a young person, because now you have a credit rating, you have a good payment track record, you would be able to access lower interest rates because you have a track record of being able to service debt and pay back on time.
Okay. How was your life changed from since you've joined the credit union? How has that impacted your life?
Well, I was joined into the credit union by my parents many years ago. I think I was 5 or 6 years old at the time. I recently revived when I became a member of the board of directors. Going into the board of directors, I was a novice. But what I love about the movement, that even if you're going there not knowing, there are persons there to guide you and to teach you, and the training is accessible. So you don't have to be afraid of jumping into the water because you don't know. There are persons there who would guide you. Say, for example, like the president, Mr. Duke, he is one that is always willing to share his over 20-something years of experience within the movement. And the good thing about Lambo is that they love giving young people the experience. And so you have the experience to attend trainings all over the world. You have the experience to sit in policy directive meetings. You have the experience to change the bylaws in terms of seeing where the bylaws may be a bit dated, making amendments to see how best you can advance the credit union. You have the opportunity to transform the marketing department. Say, for example, I was a member and still am a member of marketing. And so we have been working to change the face of the credit union. I'm sure over the years, past few years, you have been seeing us more here at Tobago Updates. We have been interacting with our members more. We have been listening to the cries of the members. And so when, as a young person, you join the credit union, you are now an agent of change. You can see the issues, you can see the problems that the members are facing, and now you can be a contributor to changing and transforming the credit union, thereby making it even much more better than it was 79 years ago.
And likewise, how has the credit union, especially Lambo Credit Union, impacted your life?
Well, I have been working at Lambo Credit Union for the past 10 years. I did not know anything about credit unions until coming to Lambo. And being a part of the credit union, now I have the opportunity to tell young people, you can now save, you can now take a loan. You can now, if you don't take a loan, some young people don't want to take a loan to do anything. And some people tell you, I don't want to do a loan. No, you need to do a loan. Because when you're ready for that mortgage, when you're ready to do something, a big project, you need, as Mr. Dinoon said, that credit rating. You need that history of good payment. And the credit union, you have the opportunity, when you are finished paying that loan, you have your shares. Your shares is still sitting there. And that is one of the things I want to really tell young people out there, get on board. Join one credit union, join two credit unions, come to Lambo Credit Union. First of all, come to Lambo Credit Union. We will walk you through the process. Even if you don't know, we're going to walk you through the process. Lambo Credit Union has vehicle loans. We have, as Mr. Dinoon says, we have loan specials. So we have something for everybody. And if we don't tap into the young persons now, we can lose them. So we want to really reach out to the young people. Check us out at Lambo Credit Union. The staff at the counter is ever so willing to help, and we're willing to assist you.
And then what about older persons?
We're here for you at Lambo Credit Union. Always here for you.
The thing about it is we have a very aging membership. So we appreciate our membership very much. If you realize, if you go through our Facebook pages and so, we have been going out, reaching the members who are unable to come, appreciating those members who would have contributed over the years to the credit union. Something I want to mention, I'm always encouraging young people to be mindful of the decisions that you make now because they affect you later on in life. Especially bad payments on a credit card, bad payments on a utility bill like digital and so forth. These things show up on what you call your TransUnion report. And so always be mindful of your credit history because it only affects you later on in life when you want to take a loan or a mortgage and so forth. So be very, very mindful of the decisions and the actions that you take now. Ensure that you are not shooting yourself in the foot, as we say. As Ms. Leslie Ann would have mentioned, we have a number of loan promotions. I would have mentioned the Easter loan promotion to you. We also have our anniversary loan promotion that is coming up, which is a maximum of 79,000 since we are celebrating 79 years. And so this is available to new and existing members. You can come to the credit union, access this loan facility. This starts in June, right after the ending of our Easter promotion. So look out for all the promotions that we have. Lambo Credit Union, as Ms. Joseph rightfully said, we are literally always here for you. 79 years strong.
All right, great. And as we're getting ready to wrap this conversation this morning, what is something that you want to leave with the public?
I would just like to encourage persons to come to Lambo Credit Union. Even if you are not a member, come to the credit union. I also want to encourage the existing members to have your account updated because a lot of our members, we're not updating the account. So we really want to have the members come forward, update your accounts, bring in some new documents so we know who you are, we know that you are there. Some people will say, you all did not call me. We've grown over the years. We've grown from 3,000 members to close to 6,000 plus members. We're past that now.
Yeah.
So we really want people to update their accounts. We want people to come forward. If you're not a member, come join us. Come see if we can help you. We will give you honest answers. We're not going to beat around you. You will get an honest answer. Okay. And we really would like to see the financial climate of Tobago. We want Lambo Credit Union to really impact the climate here.
Right.
And we look forward to that.
Right. And then again, when is elections?
Well, the elections are carded to happen in either April or May.
Mhm.
So once we have finished the nomination process and so forth, well, the auditors and so forth, between April and May, we will be having our election process.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And of course, if viewers want to know more, they can always contact the Lambo Credit Union. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, well, viewers, we're going to go for a break and we'll see you again on the other side.
It's a brand new morning. I beat and roll, we beat and roll. I beat and roll, we beat and roll. When the spirit it, I beat and roll. When the spirit it, I beat and roll. What to do? Let me see how stick you could get. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could. See how stick you could. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could get. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could. See how stick you could. See how stick you could get. Wet me down, 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 wet me down. Right now I'm overheated. Wet me down, 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 wet me down. Right now I'm over.
The Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm. On Easter Weekend 2025, Tobago is the place to be from April 17th to 20th. The Rhythm, the Soul of Tobago. On Thursday, April 17th, get ready for a worship experience at the Shore Park Complex with Melodies from Heaven. Melodies from Heaven. Then on Saturday, 19th April, immerse yourself in the sun, sea, and sand at the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, featuring legends of R&B. On Sunday, 20th April, we bring the curtains down at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium for Fusion. Get your tickets on islandetickets.com now or visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, now we are switching our conversations into a little bit of sport, specifically beach volleyball. So we are being joined right now by volleyball coach, Mr. Nolan Daniel. So a special good morning and welcome to you.
Thank you, and it's good to be here.
All right, great. So we're heading into beach volleyball season. Tell us, first of all, how long is the season? When does it start? When does it end?
Well, the beach volleyball season is a continuous thing, but we are now trying to expose more Tobagonians to the whole beach volleyball idea, right? So we started a week ago down at the Blackrock facility, and it's going to continue throughout the year, right? So we cater for ages from 10 right up. So what we're going to do is going to do little workshop training kind of things, and then every 3 months or so, we would have little competitions amongst the people who are part of the program. And that would run throughout the year because the intention of the Trinidad and Tobago Volleyball Federation is to have teams qualify for the Olympics.
Great.
So we're hoping to put Tobagonians through the paces so they could also be a part of the screenings when those things come up.
All right, so tell me a little bit also, because, I mean, you're part of Tobago Trendsetters Volleyball Club. Tell me about your club and what's special about it.
Well, Tobago Trendsetters Volleyball Club is the premier volleyball club on the island. We have been in existence since about 2009, where we would have won basically everything there is to win in Trinidad. So we won the secondary schools volleyball championships, which with Scarborough Secondary, and to date, that has been the only school to ever win the secondary school championships from Tobago. Right? We would have won the national, which is the Trinidad and Tobago Volleyball Federation C Division. That was in 2013. And every national player that came out of Tobago would have come out of the Tobago Trendsetters Volleyball Organization. So we have been around doing a number of things for years, but we were kind of under the radar. So we thank Tobago Updates for allowing us the space to, put ourselves out there.
Of course. And then what's it been like getting young people on board with beach volleyball, to be specific?
Well, the advent of
The facilities in Black
the
Rock?
Commonwealth Games
Yeah.
would have opened a number of people's eyes to the beach volleyball aspect. So as a result of that, a number of people wanted to do the beach volleyball, but I was not certified in beach volleyball until last year. So I did not want to put people through paces that I was not too familiar with. So we went ahead and got the federation to bring a beach volleyball course to Tobago, where over 18 to 20 something persons from Tobago did the course, and some of them were successful. So as a result of that, we started to implement the beach volleyball program.
And of course, you are inviting people to be a part on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Yes,
is that right?
Tuesdays and Thursdays down at the Black Rock facilities from 4 to 6:30 p.m. and it's free of charge for all ages from 10 upwards.
Now, I want to talk about, what is so special about beach volleyball and why should people be interested?
Well, beach volleyball is a little bit more challenging than indoor volleyball, right? In the sense that the court is 18 meters by 8 meters, length and width, and only 2 people is allowed to play. So you have to be fit, one, and you must master the fundamentals of the game to be successful in beach volleyball. So we're going to put you through the paces to ensure that you have the requisite skills to be successful. And yeah, it helps with your fitness. It helps you to, maintain a healthy lifestyle. So it's an all-round sport, basically.
And what opportunities are there?
Well, the opportunities are such that you can make money from playing beach volleyball, right? So in the Trinidad and Tobago space, there is qualifications, right? So you qualify, you go to the legs that Nausicaa would have or Kosovo would have, and you represent the country, you get paid to do those things. So that is where the money is, basically. So that is why we try to encourage people to participate in the beach volleyball as opposed to the indoor. Because the avenue for indoor is basically just the national team.
And what is the Tobago Trendsetters Volleyball Club? What are you guys hoping to establish in Tobago through volleyball? Give us an idea of what would you like to see?
Well, we have done some groundwork in that there is also the secondary schools volleyball taking place in Tobago. So we had 3 schools participating this year. Scarborough Secondary, Bishop's High School, and Signal Hill. Right, so secondary school volleyball is taking place, and hopefully next year that we have more schools on board. So these are some of the things, the initiative of the Tobago Trendsetters Volleyball Organization that is pushing to have all secondary schools and primary schools involved in some aspect of volleyball, be it beach or indoor.
What about the support that you've gotten from, let's say, the communities, business? Has there been some support coming in, or would you like to see more?
Well, we are trying now our best to ensure that we get that kind of support from the community, because the Tobago Trendsetters organization is a registered organization. We have done all the necessary things, the NPO, the non-government, those things.
Yes.
We would have put all those things in place. We have a bank account, we have everything. So we put in everything in place to ensure that when the support comes, it's not going to fall by the wayside.
And why is it so important to get corporate and the community involved? Why should we grow beach volleyball here in Tobago?
Because we have a marvelous facility down at Black Rock, and it augurs well for us to continue to produce things beach volleyball athletes, so we could have international visitors, tournaments, and that kind of thing coming to the island. So if we are part of it, then it would grow. So the Tobago athlete would benefit in that way.
And then what has been the reaction of young people, especially like when you introduce the sport to them?
It has been great. It has been great. So there is no complaints on that front because a number of people have been coming out to the session so far. And this is going to be the second week. And we had over 30-something people already. And, you know, we expected more to show up as the word spreads and people see what they are going to be engaging. And, yeah, we just expecting a greater turnout.
What are some of the things that, you know, people who participate, who never been introduced to the sport before and they get to be a part of it, what are some of the things that they say to you that, I mean, that strikes them about it?
It's fun. That is the main thing. That is very much fun. And, you know, they weren't aware, like, some people see you hitting the ball, striking the ball in a particular way, and they thought you used to use your fist. But then they get to realize that it is not the fist and it is the area above your elbow, between your elbow and your wrist and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
All right. So, I mean, of course, you're asking people to come out there. How can they get connected with you to be a part of Tobago Trendsetters?
To be a part of the Tobago Trendsetters Volleyball Club, as I said before, we do both indoor and beach. So the indoor segment of it is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for beginners from 5 to 7 and 7 to 9 for people who already know. And that is at the Scarborough Secondary School. The fee for that is $250 monthly. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do the beach aspect of it down at Black Rock, and that is totally free at this moment.
And of course, you also mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you mentioned it on camera, but that it's open for all ages?
Or from 10 to as young as you feel you are, you can come and participate in the beach on those 2 days.
All right, great. So we're working towards building that beach volleyball culture here in Tobago.
Yes, indeed we are.
All right, great. Well, then thank you so much. And then, of course, is there a number that people can reach you at?
686-5250. I just recently changed the phone number, so I'm still trying to get. And the number is on the flyer there, 686-5250. That is my personal contact, so you can contact me there.
All right, great. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Daniel, for being on with us and giving us a little idea of what's been happening beach volleyball wise. And viewers know if you are interested, and like Mr. Daniel said, you don't have to just be a young person. You could be any age and give the sport a try.
Yep.
So reach out to him, get connected, do something nice and fun outside. That's, you know, that's different. So great. So thank you so much. And viewers, we're going to go for a break and we'll be right back.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the sky.
when the game is on. You don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we are definitely into the election period. Last night, of course, we saw the UNC unveil some of their candidates. They didn't get to unveil all the candidates, from what political leader Kamala Pasabi-Sessa last night said, that they've got a lot more to unveil in the coming days before nomination day, which is on April 4th. Of course, they will not be contesting any seats in Tobago. However, there are a lot of other parties, of course, as you know, that are contesting. So we have the PNM who are hoping to return Mrs. Ayanna Webster Roy and Shapaka Joe Lewis for another term, a third term actually, in office as Tobago East and West candidates. And then we have the TPP who finally unveiled their West candidate in the form of Assemblyman Joel Sampson on Sunday. So he'll be going for West, and of course we know David Thomas, former fire officer David Thomas, would be putting himself forward for the Tobago East seat. And we've had the unveiling of the PDP candidates as well yesterday. So we are going to be having Mr. Watson Duke on the East and Mr. Curtis Douglas in the West, making for some more interesting times. And then later on today, you're going to be locked on to Tobago Updates at 1:30, where we would see the IDA unveil their Tobago East and West candidates. So it's exciting time. So that's so far 4 parties. And of course, we can't forget the Patriotic Front. So we already have, for the Patriotic Front West candidate, we have Mr. Rita Clark confirmed. We are still waiting on the confirmation for the Tobago East candidate for the Patriotic Front, but we should be hearing about that soon. So we have nominations day coming up on April 4th. That's definitely something to look forward to. You know, sometimes there are people that want to contest independently that put themselves forward. And if you've been tracking the elections in Tobago for the last few years, you will realize that for whatever reason, Tobago seems to be sparking a lot of interest in candidates. We've always had multiple candidates, at least over the last few elections, putting themselves forward. There's a lot of people that are interested in making their difference, which is good for our democracy. So, there's a lot to look forward to as we get closer to election day. And I know it's going to start heating up. We know after April 4th, we're going to hear more from a lot of the candidates, a lot of the political parties as their campaign heats up. Right now, everybody is just in preparation mode, and it is exciting times. So April 28th is coming soon. For some of us, it can't come soon enough, because there's a lot that happens within this space. It can get a little bit noisy sometimes, but of course, we at Tobago Updates are always here and willing to dive into the issues, not just, the pecan and the mudslinging that sometimes happens on the campaign, but we're really going to get into the issues because of this election is about voting in a government that would take us through the next 5 years. And there's a lot of things to consider, the people who can bring what Tobago needs to Tobago. I know that's always been a concern. Autonomy continues to be one of those most important things for us here in Tobago. And a lot of the parties, they have, different views as to what they think that some of these things should look like. And these are things that you need to consider, of course, when you are making your choice at the polls, and make sure that you select the right candidates. But of course, to know who those right candidates are, pay attention to Tobago Updates, because we would make sure that we are going to get into every one of them that puts themselves forward, so that you, the citizen, has the best choice possible and the most informed choice when you go to that polls on election day on April 28th. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. I am Candice Jackson, and we would see you again on tomorrow.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawn.